Alright guys, today we're gonna take a look at 5 amazing teams you can create early in Arknights Endfield, which actually carry you quite a bit. We're gonna go from completely free to play to possibly the most broken ones, so hopefully the draws work in your favor. But do you know what else may work in your favor? Today's sponsor. If you haven't seen this one yet, Lord is a brand new roguelite co-op with a pretty unique vibe and some of the most absurd power-ups. So totally check it out on Steam using my links down below. It has a 34% launch discount for 2 weeks until February 3rd, so it's a lot of fun and worth it for just under $10. But the core of the gameplay is all about power scaling really quickly, from a simple goblin tickler to an absolute god slapper, by stacking over 100 different items with very powerful effects. So if you want to play with broken characters, this is the game for you. In terms of how it plays, you can have up to 8 players in a single lobby, but to keep the chaos manageable, gold is shared across the whole team, meaning everybody gets their own wallet to spend on specific items without having to fight over the loot. You aren't locked into one specific playstyle either. You can simply swap between swords, magic and guns on the fly. Plus, you can even pick specific ingredients before the start of the fight to influence which bizarre bosses and enemies you actually get to encounter. If the screen gets too crowded or you see teammates going down left and right, just blow the tutor to rally the team for a quick revive and just go there creating some chaos. So totally check it out on Steam using my links down below. It has a 34% launch discount for 2 weeks, and once again, a huge shout out to Lord for sponsoring today's video. First, let's get started with a free-to-play setup that you can start early on, and you can even upgrade this to a much better one if you're lucky with the draws. This is going to include Admin, Chen, Akikuri and Ardelia, which was the first setup I was actually using. You can of course also replace Akikuri with Prog if you're lucky enough with the 40 draw banner and get him as a 6-star. So this is going to be an almost pure physical build, meaning that its main advantage is just stunning bosses really quickly. Still has quite a bit of AoE in there too, especially if you get like Li Feng instead of Chen. But otherwise, if you run with this setup, it's going to just stagger bosses so quickly, and during stagger phase, you're going to get a lot more damage. But even besides that, we have like 3 susceptibilities and other physical debuffs that we get to apply on the target. We of course have the corrosion from Ardelia with the final strike that we can then follow with a dolly rush to get physical susceptibility. We also have the vulnerable from Chen with her own combo then, which is also going to apply that. Going ahead with Prog's active ability, which provides SP back and even applies crush. So that's going to be a lot of debuffs on the target that we can then use with Admin's main ability or the ultimate to just unleash hell on it, especially if you manage to get this during the down phase. And of course, if you can also consume that crystal when you do this, so he has to be the last one to deal that combo attack, his own combo attack, to destroy the crystal. That's going to help a lot with damage. At this stage, you can then go ahead and just spam our main attack with Admin, the constructive sequence, which is likely going to deal a ton of damage, and also apply crush. Now, if you do this properly and also get the boss fully stunned, you're also going to get the bonus damage when the boss is fully stunned. And I mean, there's so much SP regen with this build. If you also proc Prog's ultimate, that you can just spam abilities back to back during that phase and really stack some damage, even if your build is not completely optimized. Like over here, I didn't even have like the full gear setup and whatnot. Now, there is another version of this, which in my opinion has a little bit more damage early on, and it's honestly also a lot more fun, and that's going to be the physical shatter build. Instead of using the other two, we're still going to use Admin and Chen, but replace the other two with Estelle and Alash, just because of the way they interact with one another with cryo stacks, force freezes, and also more SP regen. However, we're going to have a slightly different combo over here. Typically, what we're going to do, we're going to use Admin and Chen just like before for the vulnerability stacks, but on top of that, we also get to use Estelle as she applies cryo infliction right away with her ability, which we can then make use of to just use Alash, get his main ability, use the cryo infliction, forcefully apply solidify, which is very important to keep in mind. This is going to forcefully apply solidify, but then we can shatter it for some crazy damage once we get Admin's ability in. So overall, you can really create some crazy damage, especially in the down phase. I've noticed much bigger numbers with this build, but obviously it's even more free to play friendly because pretty much only Alash is more difficult to get, but it's a 5-star, so like really not that difficult. Now at number 3 we have thematically speaking a very awesome team, which is like full electric. We have Aviwena, Perlica, Archlight and Antal. Not too difficult to build either, only Archlight and Aviwena, which are 5 stars, but you get 5 stars every 10 pulls, so in theory it should be easy to build even with the free pulls. Perlica is obviously free from the story, and Antal is only a 4 star, so pretty much 85% chance to eventually get him. So this covers pretty much everything. We're going to be using a lot of electrification to buff our mechanics, our combos. We're going to use Amp with Antal, and we're going to place down a lot of these Thunder Lances with Aviena on the ground so that we can then pull them back into the target and deal as much damage as possible. In terms of rotations, I'm starting with Antal, providing electric susceptibility with his active ability, immediately followed by the active ability from Perlica, which provides electric infusion and immediately also triggers a combo between the two. By this stage, I already hit a final strike with Aviwena, so that's also going to trigger Perlica's combo ability that forcefully applies electrification, which is going to be another electric debuff on the target. At this stage, you will also have Archlight's own combo strike, which works upon that electrification, and at this stage you're pretty much going to want to rinse and repeat and perform the final strikes once again until you also get the second row of Thunder Lances on the ground. You will want at least 6 on the ground most of the time. If you pull this off successfully and also use Aviwena's ultimate, that's going to place down a 7th Thunder Lance on the ground, and if you combine this when the enemy is in its down state, you can draw all of those in with her active ability, with her Thunder Lance interdiction, which is going to pull them back in and deal the highest amount of damage possible. Typically you're going to rinse and repeat this, but overall a very fun build to play with. Now for the fourth theme, we're going to use Cryo as the main template, and this is going to not be quite as free-to-play friendly, only 2 of the characters, but you still have the 40 pull banner that may provide the last right. So if you're lucky with that, get last right and also get Shaihi. They can make an awesome pair. Shaihi can also further boost or amplify our damage. Both of them also easily apply Cryo stacks, 3 of them in just 2 final strikes, and we also use Perlica for her combo ability to apply electrification, which further lets us deal more arts damage. That's going to also include our, of course, cryo damage. So the way typically this works is that you're going to buff last right both from Shaiki's main ability and from her own main ability, which is already going to apply, like I said, by the time you do the second final strike, you're going to easily have 3 stacks of cryo infliction, a point at which you may have already triggered Perlica's combo strike, which also provided the electrification debuff. Pull in a couple of ultimates over here, especially Shaihi's, and you're pretty much going to be golden with the damage. You're going to like just stun lock the target and immediately unleash Last Right's ultimate. Ardelia is also very useful because of her own corrosion, by the way, so it totally works really nicely. In the past, when I wasn't using Shaihi, Snowshine, who you also get for free as a 5-star, was a pretty nice combo with Last Right, simply because of the protection. So that was another way to apply really quick cryo infliction and pretty much avoid a ton of incoming damage. If you can pop this right before an attack is about to hit, you're going to have Snowshine tank most of that, but still inflict cryo, and they still couple really well. So overall, actually a very good combo, and you get some extra AoE solidification if you also trigger her ultimate. Which brings us to the 5th and final team, and that's going to be Levitain, Wolfguard, Akekuri, and Ardelia. Very not free-to-play friendly, depending from what perspective you look at it. Though you do get Wolfguard from the story for free, Akekuri is a very easy 4-star pull, and Ardelia from the 3rd day banner. Levitain is going to be the problem here, but how difficult is she to get? Am I right? I mean, yeah, you're gonna need 120 pulls to guarantee you get her. Even 80 may not provide the guarantee chance for that, but if you do manage to pull her and save 120, this is not going to be too early if it lasts that long. So in that case, it's going to come in a little bit later, but it's pretty much the top tier DPS team and AoE team in the game, simply because of the combo between especially Levitate and Wolfguard. Wolfguard can generate a lot of those fire inflictions. Levitate consumes fire inflictions to power up her skill and also to charge up the ultimate. We have Akekuri as an amazing SP regen, and Ardelia is also there for even more debuffs against the target with her corrosion and whatnot. So you can definitely make Levitate an absolute beast with this setup, and you will likely not need anything else for quite a while, but you will need to get her from the banner, which may not be quite as early as some of the other teams. I just wanted to make that abundantly clear. Of course, there are quite a few other setups that you can create. These were just some of the ones I've been using. Recently, I was also using Yvonne, Gilberta, Elash, and Jaihi as one of the possible ways of doing it, though this one is probably even more difficult to get because both Yvonne and Gilberta share the same banner for now, so you may not even be able to get one of them unless you're super lucky. But otherwise, it was one of my favorite full blast AoE damage with Gilberta, especially. She's an amazing character with her ability. Definitely something to look into if you are able to get this one, but this is just a bonus I wanted to mention at the end. Obviously, there are 24 characters in total, many possible combinations. That is why I would love to know your own in the comments down below. What other teams are you using besides these, and how good are they? This is pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.